Atoms are the basic building blocks of matter that make up everyday objects. Because atoms are so incredibly small, they're invisible. As you might imagine, it's difficult to figure out what something looks like if it's invisible. And that was the question that troubled scientists for years. What does an atom look like? Here's a timeline of the most influential scientists for atomic history.
In 460 BC, Democritus was an ancient Greek philosopher who studied the atomic theory. His atomic theory was all matter consists of invisible particles called atoms. Atoms are indestructible, atoms are solid but invisible, and atoms differ in size, mass, position, and arrangement. Democritus also thought solids were made of small pointy atoms, that liquids were made of large round atoms, and that oils were made of very fine small atoms that could easily slip past each other.
Born in 384 BC, Aristotle was also a philosopher in the time of ancient Greece. He thought that all substances and materials were made up of fire, water, air, and earth. He disagreed with the idea of atoms, arguing that everything was made up of these four elements combined in different amounts.
In Eaglesfield, England, scientist John Dalton was born in 1766. He proposed that matter is composed of tiny solid spheres called atoms. His atomic theory stated that atoms of one type of element are identical in size, mass, etc., but differ from atoms of a different element. Also, that atoms could not be subdivided or destroyed. Dalton was first to use evidence to support his ideas, since he conducted an experiment using mixtures of gases.
Born in 1856, J.J. Thomson was an American scientist that studied positively charged ions, or positive rays. He discovered electrons and created the plum pudding model.
In the late 1800s and early 1900s, a New Zealand scientist, Rutherford, impacted the history of an atom model. Rutherford was known as the father of nuclear physics. Rutherford was part of an atomic theory as well as a handful of other scientists. His atom was called nuclear atom, planetary model of the atom. His model included an atom having a nucleus with protons and neutrons and electrons circling the nucleus like planets orbit the sun. Rutherford used a gold foil experiment to further understand the atomic theory.
American physicist Robert A. Millikan is best known for the oil drop experiment he created. From this experiment, Millikan found that electrons carry a specific charge. For this discovery, he won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1923.
Bohr, a physics scientist in 1913, depicts the atom as a small positively charged nucleus surrounded by electrons that travel in circular orbits around the nucleus. Bohr was the first to discover that electrons travel in separate orbits around the nucleus and that the number of electrons in the outer orbit determines the properties of an element.
Schrödinger took Bohr's model one step further by using mathematical equations to find the likelihood of an electron. Unlike the Bohr model, the quantum mechanical model does not define the exact path of an electron, but rather predicts the odds of the location of the electron. His model today is the current atom model.
Yo, son, you look hot over there. How do you emit so much light?
Well, I use a process called nuclear fusion, but it's super boring, so I'll tell you how light bulbs, fire, etc. all emit light. The electrons in a molecule jump to a higher orbital in the electron cloud temporarily. The electrons then jump back to their lower orbital and release their excess energy in the form of a photon. The photons are what emit light.
Swahili